This session is designed to be both informative and practical. We'll explore how AI can help us generate comprehensive requirement sets, identify gaps and inconsistencies, and ensure that our specifications are robust and ready for development. Whether you're a product manager, business analyst, or engineer, this lesson will equip you with the tools and techniques to harness AI effectively in your requirements workflow. So let's get started and see how AI can elevate your product development process to the next level. In this lesson, we're going to explore how artificial intelligence can dramatically enhance the way we generate and refine product requirements. Our goals are ambitious but achievable. First, you'll learn how to master AI powered techniques for generating requirements. These methods will help you move beyond manual drafting and into a more efficient, intelligent process. We'll also cover how to perform automated gap analysis, ensuring that no critical requirement is overlooked. Next, we'll dive into consistency checking, an essential step for eliminating contradictions and ensuring alignment across your requirement sets. And finally, we'll practice validating completeness, making sure that every user scenario, system function, and integration point is accounted for. By the end of this lesson, you'll be equipped to generate comprehensive requirement sets much faster than traditional methods allow. You'll be able to identify edge cases early in the development cycle, minimize inconsistencies, and produce more robust product specifications. This isn't just theory. We'll combine conceptual frameworks with hands-on exercises so you can apply what you learn immediately. Whether you're refining an MVP or scaling a complex platform, these AI-driven techniques will elevate your requirements engineering process. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the core challenges that have long plagued traditional requirements engineering. First and foremost, the process is incredibly time-consuming. Drafting requirements manually often involves weeks of stakeholder interviews, document reviews, and iterative revisions. This not only delays development, but also increases the risk of misalignment. Another major issue is the difficulty in identifying all possible edge cases. Human analysts, no matter how experienced, can easily overlook rare user behaviors or system states that might cause failures down the line. Then there's the problem of conflicting or inconsistent requirements, something that becomes more common as projects scale and more contributors get involved. Incomplete coverage is another critical concern. Requirements often miss key user scenarios, especially those involving error handling, integration points, or non-functional aspects like performance and security. And when we're dealing with complex products, scalability becomes a serious limitation. The more moving parts there are, the harder it is to maintain clarity and cohesion across the entire requirement set. These challenges are not just theoretical. Industry data shows that poor requirements definition is responsible for nearly 68% of project failures. That's a staggering number, and it highlights just how vital it is to get this phase right. Fortunately, AI offers powerful tools to help us overcome these obstacles, and that's exactly what we'll explore in the next section. Now let's explore how AI can fundamentally transform the requirements generation process. It all begins with a well-crafted initial prompt. By providing the AI with a high-level product vision, a clear understanding of the target users, and a list of key features, we set the foundation for a powerful collaboration between human insight and machine intelligence. From there, the AI generates a comprehensive draft of the requirements. This includes both functional requirements, like what the system should do, and non-functional requirements, such as performance, security, and compliance expectations. The initial draft is rarely perfect, but that's where the iterative refinement process comes in. You review the AI's output, provide feedback, and guide it toward greater accuracy and alignment with your product goals. Once the draft is refined, we move into the validation phase. Here, we assess the completeness, consistency, and accuracy of the requirements. Are all user scenarios covered? Are there any contradictions or missing elements? Modern large language models can generate 60 to 80% of standard requirements, which can save product managers up to 15 hours per feature set. That's a significant time savings, especially when you consider the improved quality and reduced risk of rework. This AI-driven approach doesn't just speed things up, It elevates the entire requirements engineering process. It allows teams to focus more on strategic thinking and less on repetitive drafting, while ensuring that the final requirements are both comprehensive and aligned with stakeholder needs. To get the most out of AI in requirements engineering, it all starts with the prompt. The quality of the AI's output is directly tied to the clarity and specificity of the input you provide. That's why effective prompting is not just helpful, it's essential. Begin with a concise product vision statement. This sets the context and helps the AI understand the overarching goals. Next, define your user personas and key use cases. Who are you building for and what are they trying to accomplish? This information helps the AI tailor requirements to real world scenarios. It's also important to clearly define the scope boundaries. What's in scope, and just as importantly, what's out. This prevents the AI from generating irrelevant or overly broad requirements. Be sure to request specific categories of requirements: functional, performance, security, compliance, and so on. The more structured your request, the more structured the output will be. A sample prompt might sound like this: generate comprehensive requirements for a mobile banking app targeting everyday consumers. Include functional requirements for account management, payments, and notifications, along with performance, security, and compliance requirements. Consider regulatory constraints and integration with existing banking systems. Prompt engineering is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Vague prompts lead to vague requirements. But when you're specific about your product context and expectations, AI becomes a powerful partner in generating high quality, actionable requirements. Let's look at a real world example that illustrates the impact of AI on the requirements generation process. This case study comes from a fintech startup that was struggling with the typical challenges of manual requirements engineering, slow turnaround times, incomplete coverage, and missed edge cases. Before integrating AI, their team spent 3 weeks drafting the initial set of requirements. That involved 17 stakeholder interviews and still resulted in only 76% coverage. Even more concerning, they missed 42 edge cases, potential failure points that could have led to serious issues in production. Now compare that to their process after adopting AI. With AI assistance, they were able to generate the initial draft in just 3 days. Instead of 17 interviews, they conducted 5 focused stakeholder validations. Requirements coverage jumped to 94%, and the number of missed edge cases dropped dramatically to just 8. This represents an 85% reduction in time spent on the requirements phase, while simultaneously improving completeness and reducing risk. That's not just a productivity gain, it's a strategic advantage. By leveraging AI, the team was able to move faster, make better decisions, and deliver a more robust product. This case study highlights the tangible benefits of AI powered requirements engineering. It's not just about automation, it's about enhancing quality, accelerating delivery, and enabling teams to focus on innovation rather than documentation. One of the most powerful applications of AI in requirements engineering is automated gap analysis. This process helps identify missing requirements, those critical elements that, if overlooked, could jeopardize the success of the product. Traditionally, gap analysis has relied heavily on manual reviews, which are time consuming and prone to human oversight. AI changes that. AI excels at gap analysis by comparing your requirements against industry standards and best practices. It can also analyze similar products to identify common features or constraints that may be missing from your current set. Through advanced pattern recognition, AI can detect inconsistencies or omissions that might not be obvious to a human reviewer. What makes AI especially effective is its contextual understanding. It doesn't just look for keywords, it understands the domain specific needs of your product and evaluates whether the requirements fully support the user journey. For example, if a user flow includes a payment process but lacks error handling for failed transactions, AI will flag that as a gap. Studies show that AI can identify up to 40% more potential gaps than manual reviews, particularly in areas like security, compliance, and edge case handling. This means fewer surprises during development, fewer bugs in production, and a more complete, resilient product from the start. Edge cases are often the silent killers of software quality. They're the rare, unexpected, or extreme scenarios that don't show up in the happy path but can cause serious issues in production. This is where AI truly shines by identifying edge cases that human analysts might overlook. Let's start with user behavior variance. AI can analyze unusual user paths, unexpected inputs, and boundary conditions. For example, what happens if a user enters a 300 character name or tries to submit a form with missing data? AI can simulate these scenarios and flag them as potential edge cases. It also detects timing and sequence anomalies, like what happens if a user clicks submit twice in rapid succession, or resource limitation scenarios such as low battery or limited memory. Then there are system state combinations. AI can model rare interactions between different parts of the system, such as concurrent operations that might conflict or what happens when a dependency fails. It can even simulate partial system availability, like when one microservice is down but others are still running. Finally, AI helps identify environmental factors that might affect system behavior. These include network connectivity issues, data storage limitations, or disruptions from third party services. These are often overlooked during manual reviews, but can have a major impact on user experience. By identifying these edge cases early, AI helps reduce production incidents by up to 32%. That's a huge win for product stability, user satisfaction, and development efficiency. As requirements grow in volume and complexity, maintaining consistency becomes a major challenge. Inconsistent terminology, logical contradictions, and misaligned timelines can all lead to confusion, rework, and even system failures. This is where AI plays a critical role in ensuring clarity and cohesion across your entire requirement set. First, let's talk about terminology consistency. AI can scan your documentation to ensure that terms are used uniformly throughout. For example, if one requirement refers to a user profile and another calls it a customer account, AI can flag that inconsistency. This helps eliminate ambiguity and ensures that everyone, from developers to testers to stakeholders, is speaking the same language. Next, AI is highly effective at detecting logical conflicts. These are situations where two or more requirements contradict each other. For instance, one requirement might specify that a system must support offline mode, while another requires real time data synchronization. AI can identify these contradictions early, before they become costly issues during development or testing. Finally, AI checks for temporal dependencies. It ensures that requirements with time based relationships are properly sequenced and don't create impossible conditions. For example, if one requirement says a report must be generated before data is available, that's a red flag. AI helps catch these issues by analyzing the logical flow of time sensitive requirements. By automating consistency checks, AI helps teams avoid miscommunication, reduce rework, and deliver more reliable products, especially in large scale or fast moving projects. As requirements grow in volume and complexity, maintaining consistency becomes a major challenge. Inconsistent terminology, logical contradictions, and misaligned timelines can all lead to confusion, rework, and even system failures. This is where AI plays a critical role in ensuring clarity and cohesion across your entire requirement set. First, let's talk about terminology consistency. AI can scan your documentation to ensure that terms are used uniformly throughout. For example, if one requirement refers to a user profile and another calls it a customer account, AI can flag that inconsistency. This helps eliminate ambiguity and ensures that everyone, from developers to testers to stakeholders, is speaking the same language. Next, AI is highly effective at detecting logical conflicts. These are situations where two or more requirements contradict each other. For instance, one requirement might specify that a system must support offline mode, while another requires real time data synchronization. AI can identify these contradictions early, before they become costly issues during development or testing. Finally, AI checks for temporal dependencies. It ensures that requirements with time based relationships are properly sequenced and don't create impossible conditions. For example, if one requirement says a report must be generated before data is available, that's a red flag. AI helps catch these issues by analyzing the logical flow of time sensitive requirements. By automating consistency checks, AI helps teams avoid miscommunication, reduce rework, and deliver more reliable products, especially in large scale or fast moving projects. Completeness is one of the most critical aspects of high quality requirements engineering. If your requirements don't fully describe the system, its behavior, and its interactions, you're leaving room for ambiguity, missed functionality, and costly rework. AI helps us evaluate completeness across multiple dimensions, ensuring that nothing essential is left out. First, we look at functional coverage. AI checks whether all system functions and features are clearly specified. This includes core operations, user interactions, and business logic. If a feature is mentioned in the product vision but not reflected in the requirements, AI will flag that gap. Next, we assess non functional aspects. These are often overlooked but just as important. AI validates whether performance, security, reliability, and compliance requirements are present and sufficiently detailed. For example, does the system need to respond within a certain time frame? Is data encryption required? These elements must be explicitly stated. Then we move to user journey coverage. AI ensures that all user flows, from onboarding to error recovery, are addressed. It checks for completeness across different personas and usage scenarios, making sure the experience is seamless and intuitive. Error handling is another key area. AI evaluates whether the system's responses to failures, exceptions, and edge cases are properly defined. This includes what happens when a transaction fails, when a user enters invalid data, or when a service is unavailable. Finally, AI checks integration points. It verifies that all external system interactions, APIs, third party services, databases, are accounted for in the requirements. Missing these can lead to major integration issues later in development. By evaluating requirements against industry standard completeness metrics and domain specific benchmarks, AI helps teams build more resilient, user friendly, and production ready systems. Now it's time to put theory into practice. In this exercise, you'll use AI to evaluate the completeness of a real world requirements set for a mobile payment application. This hands on activity will help you apply the concepts we've covered: functional coverage, non functional aspects, user journeys, error handling, and integration points. You'll begin by uploading the provided requirements document into the AI platform. Once uploaded, you'll configure the AI to perform a completeness check tailored to fintech applications. This ensures the analysis is aligned with industry specific expectations, such as security, compliance, and transaction reliability. The AI will generate a completeness report, highlighting any gaps or missing elements. Your task is to review this report and identify the top 5 gaps that could impact product success. Then, you'll draft additional requirements to address those gaps, ensuring the system is more robust and user ready. The requirements set includes key areas like user access, covering sign up, login, and multi factor authentication. It also includes wallet and account management, peer to peer payments, QR code transactions, and scheduled payments. Notifications and security features like fraud detection and encryption are also part of the scope. This exercise is designed to simulate a real world scenario, giving you the opportunity to practice AI assisted requirements refinement in a controlled, supportive environment. By the end, you'll have a stronger grasp of how to use AI not just to generate requirements, but to critically evaluate and improve them. Sample results are shown on the next 2 slides. The key strengths of the functional coverage are that it covers the core mobile payment features like user access, wallet and accounts, payments, notifications, and security. However, there are some gaps, such as missing user profile management, dispute resolution flows, in app support, multi currency support, and loyalty/rewards features. In terms of integration points, the strengths are that it supports bank/card linking and QR code payments, indicating integration with financial institutions and merchants. But there are gaps around integration with payment gateways/APIs, KYC/AML services, and third party services like accounting apps, messaging platforms, and e commerce. Overall, the functional coverage is comprehensive, but there are some areas that could be improved to provide a more complete mobile payment experience. For non functional aspects, the strengths are that security is addressed through encryption and fraud detection. The gaps include lack of performance, availability, accessibility, localization, and compliance requirements. In terms of user journey coverage, the strengths are that onboarding, core usage, and notifications are covered. The gaps include lack of onboarding completeness and coverage of lifecycle events like account deletion and password recovery. The integration point strengths are bank/card linking and QR code payments, but the gaps include lack of mention of payment gateways, KYC/AML services, and integration with third party services. The key gap in error handling is the lack of explicit mention of validation errors, transaction failures, security alerts, and recovery flows. As AI continues to evolve, so does the ecosystem of tools available to support requirements engineering. Today, we have a growing suite of platforms that specialize in different aspects of the requirements lifecycle, from generation to validation and everything in between. For requirements generation, tools like GPT-4 with custom prompts, Anthropic Claude, IBM Watson requirements, and REQ Suite AI Assistant are leading the way. These platforms help teams quickly draft functional and non functional requirements based on product vision, user personas, and system constraints. When it comes to gap analysis and consistency checking, tools such as QA Advisor, JAMA Connect with AI, Visual Requirements AI, and Modern Requirements AI are making a big impact. They use pattern recognition, domain knowledge, and standards based comparisons to identify missing elements, contradictions, and inconsistencies across large requirement sets. For validation and verification, platforms like Prolaborate AI, Spirit Team AI Assistant, Helix ALM, and REQView AI Analyzer help ensure that requirements are complete, testable, and aligned with business goals. These tools often integrate directly with test management and development environments, creating a seamless workflow from requirements to release. The AI requirements tooling market is growing rapidly, currently at a compound annual growth rate of 24%. This growth reflects increasing demand for smarter, faster, and more scalable approaches to requirements engineering. As these tools continue to mature, we can expect even tighter integration between AI capabilities and traditional product development platforms. As AI continues to evolve, so does the ecosystem of tools available to support requirements engineering. Today, we have a growing suite of platforms that specialize in different aspects of the requirements lifecycle, from generation to validation and everything in between. For requirements generation, tools like GPT-4 with custom prompts, Anthropic Claude, IBM Watson requirements, and REQ Suite AI Assistant are leading the way. These platforms help teams quickly draft functional and non functional requirements based on product vision, user personas, and system constraints. When it comes to gap analysis and consistency checking, tools such as QA Advisor, JAMA Connect with AI, Visual Requirements AI, and Modern Requirements AI are making a big impact. They use pattern recognition, domain knowledge, and standards based comparisons to identify missing elements, contradictions, and inconsistencies across large requirement sets. For validation and verification, platforms like Prolaborate AI, Spirit Team AI Assistant, Helix ALM, and REQView AI Analyzer help ensure that requirements are complete, testable, and aligned with business goals. These tools often integrate directly with test management and development environments, creating a seamless workflow from requirements to release. The AI requirements tooling market is growing rapidly, currently at a compound annual growth rate of 24%. This growth reflects increasing demand for smarter, faster, and more scalable approaches to requirements engineering. As these tools continue to mature, we can expect even tighter integration between AI capabilities and traditional product development platforms. As we wrap up this session, let's revisit the key takeaways that highlight the transformative power of AI in requirements engineering. First and foremost, AI acts as an accelerator. It doesn't replace human judgment, it enhances it. By automating the drafting and analysis of requirements, AI can speed up the process by 60 to 80%, freeing up time for strategic thinking and stakeholder engagement. Next, AI significantly improves coverage. It identifies gaps and edge cases that humans often miss, especially in complex systems or fast paced development environments. This leads to more complete, resilient, and user centered product specifications. Consistency is another major benefit. AI excels at maintaining uniformity across large sets of requirements, something that becomes increasingly difficult as projects scale. It catches contradictions, aligns terminology, and ensures logical sequencing, helping teams avoid costly errors and miscommunication. Finally, the most important takeaway is practical application. Start small. Use AI for drafting and validation tasks, then expand its role as your team becomes more comfortable and confident. The goal isn't to automate everything, it's to create a smarter, more efficient process that combines the best of human expertise and machine intelligence. In our next session, we'll take this a step further by exploring how AI can generate comprehensive test cases directly from your requirements. This will help ensure that your specifications are not only complete, but also testable and ready for implementation.